The SEC warning about pot stocks this week, citing reasons reminiscent of their warnings about cryptocurrencies back at the height of the craze. Bob Pisani is at the NYSE to break it down. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Melissa. The SEC is warning investors about the hazards of investing in pot this time. In a statement with remarkable similarities to its warnings on crypto, the SEC has told investors to be wary of investing in the marijuana business, warning that fraudsters may manipulate stock prices, may spread false and misleading information, and may try to use media coverage of marijuana legalization to promote investment scams. They urge investors to look out for unlicensed, unregistered sellers and guaranteed returns. Be wary of that. This is remarkably similar to the SEC's earlier warnings on investing in Bitcoin and other cryptos. In a letter the SEC released in January, the SEC said cryptos offered substantially less investor protection than traditional securities markets and that there was greater opportunity for fraud and manipulation. A separate alert from 2017 warned ICO investors to be wary of guaranteed high returns and unlicensed sellers. This is exactly the language they used to warn against pot scams. The two sound similar because they go to the very reason the SEC exists. In 1933, Congress passed a law, the Securities Act, to protect investors because existing state laws back then were ineffective in protecting them against fraud. There really were people selling swampland in Florida back then. The following year, Congress created the SEC to do three things: maintain fair and orderly and efficient markets, number one; number two, facilitate capital formation; and three, to protect investors. Given how many get-rich-quick schemes have sprung up in both pot and crypto investments, this is exactly what the SEC should be doing. Back to you, Melissa.
All right, Bob, thanks. Bob Pisani at the NYSE. So is cannabis the new crypto? We're getting our own cannabis king to answer that very question for us. Tim's over at the Plasma to give us a lowdown on what's the same and what's different about crypto and cannabis. Tim, take it away.
Thanks, Mel. And boy, what is this? If you remember your business school, this is a Venn diagram. And what that means is you essentially have two circles, and where they overlap, you have a bunch of stuff that's in common. So what's in common between crypto and cannabis? Well, you can make an argument that they're both commodities, except for this is really a commodity, ultimately physically, and it's a plant. And we talk about commodity prices. I don't think that this is a commodity, even though it may be actually CFTC regulated. Is it criminal? Well, obviously, one of the things that the SEC was talking about was that, you could be investing in something where federally it's a criminal offense and you could be attached to that, or not you as an investor, but certainly that company. That's a big risk. A lot of people talk about ultimately, can we slide that over? The criminal elements of the crypto world, how essentially the interweb and all these negative places, or whether it's you're a criminal and you're looking to extort money, et cetera. But ultimately, it's really about manipulation. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that as an overlap place because I think the dynamic here is people are very concerned, especially the SEC, unregulated markets or markets that are very thin with big liquidity close are subject to manipulation. Yes, companies that suddenly change their name, or yes, companies that say they're doing one thing and not another, or really just capital structures that don't make sense. Regulation. Look, both of these guys want more regulation. Be clear. Bottom line here is regulation actually means it gives you a path forward, and I think both of these places belong there. In the regulatory world, you hear investors on both sides saying we embrace it. Speculation, same thing. Bottom line, we saw enormous speculation here, right? Wasn't that really what it's about? I would argue that a lot of the people that were trading crypto were trading it because it was so volatile. The speculation was never better. How about over here? Well, I tell you what, yes, massive speculation, but I would make an argument that this is a much more fundamental story, so I'm going to leave that one over there. Yeah, I know that. Maybe I'm showing my bias. Bottom line, volatility, you've got it in both places, and you can certainly argue, again, these are less transparent asset classes. They are less liquid asset classes. Volatility is prevalent. It will remain prevalent, especially with valuations where they are.
So my question to Tim would be, today is, listen, you can't look back, you can only look forward. Given the choice between the two, what's more compelling at these levels? Crypto after the huge sell-off, or cannabis after the huge run to the upside?
Well, to me, cannabis is, look, this is a consumer product story. This is the development of what I think is ultimately a social dynamic. It certainly is going to affect the way people look at a lot of different industries, including pharma and consumption. So that, to me, I think I've said that on this show. I think at these levels, crypto is interesting. Bottom line, though, at these levels, people really don't know what the valuations of the companies are in the cannabis world. And that's why I think they need to look at the strategic focus of the company, the quality of the management team, and make the decisions from there.